Clipchamp Create.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Sweeney here with a round of Mr. Sweeney's tips and tricks. And today I want to introduce you to a really cool website called BandLab.com. It's a music production website, and it's actually a free digital audio workstation that gives you the ability to be able to arrange, analyze, and export music. So here's what you got to do to get started. First thing you'll do is go to www.bandlab.com, and then you're going to create an account. When you create an account, I'm going to recommend that you create an account using your school email address. Important note here, if you're not one of my students, just go back and double check with your teacher and make sure that it's okay. But if you're one of my kids, it's okay. Go ahead and use your school email account. When you set up the password for this, I do strongly recommend, however, do not use the same password that you would use for your school email address. So in other words, if your school email address password is ABC123. When you create your account with BandLab, I'm going to recommend that you set up a different password just to protect the integrity of your school email address account. Now that you've created your account, let's get started with this BandLab program and see what we can do with it. Once you create your BandLab account and log in, your desktop should look something like this. And I want to bring your attention to this create button in the top corner. We'll talk about a lot of this other stuff later on. Click on that create button, and that's going to take you to this screen. Ladies and gentlemen, BandLab is a lot like GarageBand on steroids. You've got so many different selections on here that you can make, but I do want to start with the Browse Loops icon right down here. What is a loop? In musical terms, a loop is a musical phrase that simply just plays and repeats, plays and repeats. In the old days, they used to call it an ostinato, a repeating musical phrase. Once we click on that, it's going to bring us to our DAW, our digital audio workstation, our desktop in BandLab, if you will. A couple of features I want to point out to you here. First, across the top, this is the time. And we will discuss this in just a moment. And the tracks will be laid down here, each individual music track. But I want to draw your focus over to the loop packs on the right-hand side. Each individual loop pack is a combination of a multitude of different instruments. And what you can do is you can click on the little play button to get a small audition, sample, or demo of what each pack may sound like. And so let me try that for you real quick. Keep in mind that every sound that you sample in the packs are separated according to genre of music.
Clipchamp Create. Clipchamp Create.
I kind of like this one, so I'm going to click on Downtown Hip Hop. And once you click on that, you can see that you've got, I'd say, a few dozen different choices of sounds. Here's the rule when you're laying down tracks on a DAW. Typically, the rule is that you start with a drum or a beat or a rhythm track first, and then you lay down a bass track second. But the cool thing about music is that although that may be the rule, that's not the hard, fast rule, and you can deviate from that rule from time to time. And I do want to point out one little thing here that even though it is spelled B-A-S-S, this is not a fishing website. This is a music website, and so it's not pronounced bass. It's pronounced bass. I'm just saying. So I'm going to click on a couple of my drum loops here, a couple of the samples, and see what they sound like. It's okay. A little tame for my time.
Clipchamp Create.
A little tame for me in the morning. I like that one.
Clipchamp Create.
Might seem a little too busy to me. So I think I'm going to go back to number 3. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight my mouse over top of the track, and I'm going to simply drag it over onto the DAW.
Clipchamp Create.
Once it's on the DAW, I'm going to have to move it all the way over to the left-hand side, and I'll bring your attention to this section at the top of the page. This section at the top of the page is the tape transport, the rewind, the play, the fast forward, the record, and then there's the time. We're not going to worry about the record right now, but I do want to tell you one really cool shortcut is rather than having to hit the play button to start, stop all the time, you can simply use your space bar to start and stop the recording. So I'm going to click my space bar and let's see what we got.
Clip champ
That
create.
is 2 complete measures of a drum loop. Go back and play that again, and I'll count it for you. 2, 3, 4.
Clip champ create.
2, 3, 4, and end. Now that we've laid our 2 measures down, we could go back and we could continue dropping loops in.
Clip
but
champ
the
create.
other alternative that we have is that we can actually stretch this out to make it longer. There's a couple of different icons in the corner here, but I want to draw your attention to this little
Clip
fidget
champ
spinner
create.
in the top right. Hover your mouse over that, bring it out, and drag it to the right-hand side. And I'm going to make this 8 complete measures. 8 complete measures.
Clip
1, 2,
champ
3, 4,
create.
5, 6, 7, 8. I did go up to 9, but again, because I want to say I'm making 8 complete measures of a drum loop. And back to the beginning.
Clip
Hit my
champ
space
create.
bar. 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2,
Clip champ create.
3. And you get the idea. Now that we have the drums in there, let's take a look at some of these bass tracks. I'm going to click on the play button, sample some of the project loops.
Clip champ create.
Yeah, okay.
Clip champ
Kind of
create.
like that. Hashtag boring.
Clip champ create.
Hashtag even more boring. I think I'm going to go with the second one. Let me just double check and make sure. I like that little descending.
Clip champ create.
Okay, so I'll bring that one in. And by the way, if I start playing this, I've still got my sample playing
Clip
over
champ
here.
create.
So remember always to turn your sample off. That got me a few times in the beginning. Drag it back to the beginning of the loop. And let's make this one 8 measures long as well.
Clip champ create.
I want to tell you an important thing about this is making sure that everything is all lined up. Make sure that your arrangement on the desktop is neat. If I have this
Clip champ
scooched
create.
off to the side slightly, it's just not going to sound right. I'll play that for you in just a moment. But this is the bass track and the drum track all combined.
Clip champ create.
And you can hear how that sounds pretty tight. If I were to take this track and I were to alter it and move it over slightly,
Clip champ create.
let's see what this sounds like. Actually, and you can hear how it doesn't sound synchronized. It's out of
Clip
sync
champ
with
create.
itself. So make sure that all of your tracks are lined up over top of each other. Okay, I've got my bass track. I've got my drum track. Now let's put some icing on this cake. Let's give it some flavor.
Clip champ create.
So we've got a couple of other options in here. Pretty tame.
Clip champ create.
Thanks, but no thanks. No. How about some guitars?
Clip champ create. Clip champ create.
Oh yeah, I like that. Bring that one in here. Drop it into my track.
Clip champ create.
Let's make this one 8 measures long as well. And let's see if we can find one more
Clip champ
effect
create.
that we can put in.
Clip champ create. Clip champ create.
Okay, let's try that one. Why not? We'll throw it in. If it doesn't work, we'll delete it.
Clip champ create.
And again, I'm going to make sure that I line everything up with the beginning. Let's see
Clip
what our
champ
sound sounds
create.
like.
Clip champ create. Clip champ create.
You know, that's not too bad. It's a good start. But as we said in the beginning of the video here,
Clip champ
that
create.
with music production, we do things in 3 sequences. We arrange something, and then after that we assess or we analyze it, and then after that we export it and make it into an actual song file. And so now that I've arranged everything, I'm assessing it and I'm thinking, okay, I kind of like the blend of the song sounds together, but it just kind of all hits you in the face all at once, and then it just kind of drops off at the end into nothingness, if you will. And so I want to try an effect here that I like to call sample stacking. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my drum beat in the beginning. And I'm going to take everything and move it over to the right. And then I'll shorten these guys up to bring them down to the 8 complete measures. Although these will not be 8 complete measures. They'll be somewhat less, but the entire musical composition will be 8. Going back to the beginning, it's going to start now with the drums, and then the bass, the guitar, and the flute is going to come in. Let's see how it sounds.
Clipchamp Create. Clipchamp Create.
You know, again, not too bad.
Clipchamp Create.
But I'm thinking that as much as I like it, maybe I could do some more stacking, and maybe I could get this to sound even better.
Clipchamp Create.
So I project that this should start with the drums, and then the bass will come in after 2 measures, and then the guitar and the flute voice, or Vox, VOX's voice, flute and voice will come in at the end of the 4th measure, beginning of the 5th measure. Back to the beginning.
Clipchamp Create. Clipchamp Create. Clipchamp Create.
Awesome. Much better. Every time we do something here, it seems like it gets a little bit better. But what about the end? I don't know. It just kind of seems to drop off. So maybe what we can do is we can extend just this bass track and see if we can find a sweet spot to end the song on the bass track. So I'm going to use the transport head back. Start it. Now it's just the bass.
Clipchamp Create.
And I actually think it would be pretty cool if our song stopped right there. So I'll back the transport head up again. Try to find that spot. Right there in the waveform is where you can see where it drops out. So I'll back my waveform up, shorten it up to this point right here. Move the transport head back.
Clipchamp Create.
Little bit more. Right there we go. Excellent. Let's go back to the beginning and see what our song sounds like.
Clipchamp Create. Clipchamp Create.
Excellent. A musical composition created in BandLab in all of less than 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, your assignment for today, get out there and play around with some of these loop packs, make some loops, make some hit songs, make some money, and let's get her done. This is Mr. Sweeney with another round of Mr. Sweeney's Tips and Tricks. Coming up next, we're going to find out what some of these dials and controls and gizmos and gadgets over here on the left-hand side do. Stay tuned for that video. Coming up next.